Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be taking out the subframe on my 89 Supra. So I'm going to show you some of the details and process that you have to do to go through it. So let's get started. So first thing you got to do, I got to take off my caliper, got to take off my rotor. I already have my engine pulled, so I have my steering rack out already. So I'm gonna be going through disconnecting this. There's a clip back here for your brake line. I'll show you. There's a clip back here that I'm just gonna undo. Actually, no, I don't have to. Let's see what else. Basically what I'm gonna be doing today, I'm gonna take off this hub because it'd be a lot easier to take off this upper control arm, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna keep this attached to the vehicle, get my hub off. So I gotta take off my my ball joint down here, which is just held in by 3 nuts. There's a couple studs that go through right here. There's one right here and one right behind the shock. So I just have to loosen up the bottom of my shock, slide that forward a little bit so I can take off the nut underneath and then pull up the stud. And then do the same thing with this right up here, this stud right here. So I'm gonna start by just connecting stuff, and then I gotta take off why did I forget the name of it? Yeah, it'll come to me. Anyway, let's jump right in. So what I'm doing first, I just loosened up my caliper bolts and decided I'm gonna make it easier on myself. I'm gonna loosen up these castle nuts. That way they're already loose, so I don't bend the brake line whenever I hang my caliper up here. Usually whenever I put cotter pins in, I try to face them like the opposite direction that I need to pull them back out at. So after I bend these tabs on this cotter pin, I'm just gonna have to push it through, and well, I'm pretty sure this is, hope it's factory, but yeah, I would have made it, so I just had to pull it this way instead of pulling it this way towards the hub, where you don't really have that much wiggle room. Alright, got the top one out. Gonna get the one on the ball joint, which it's literally just a clip like that. It's actually pretty simple. I'm definitely gonna be replacing it with a regular cotter pin, but that's not too bad. Oh yeah, the socket that you need for the caliper was a 17 millimeter, and then I believe the one on the ball joints are, I think the top one is 18. Yeah, top one's 18, and the bottom one, oh yeah, I didn't have the size for it. I think it's like a 22, 23. Alright. Oh wow, that is extremely loose. Awesome. Cool. I had this done a few years ago. I had a bad wheel bearing on this side. I brought it to a shop And yeah, it did not tighten that down. That's awesome. Glad there's a cotter pin in that. Alright, got that loose enough. I'm gonna loosen up these bolts on the bottom. I forget what size they are for the ball joint. Hope you can see it. Let me see if I can have it on the camera. Alright, so there's gonna be this right here. That's a 2-piece stud that goes through to the bottom of, like, through the ball joint. And there's one right back here behind the shock. Hope you can see that. If not, you'll see where my hand goes. Anyway, I'm gonna loosen up the bolts on the bottom. 19mm. The stud on the back is comes through a little bit longer, so I would need a deep socket, but I don't have a deep socket for my 1/2-inch set. That'll be all right. I got it. Alright, ball joint is all loose. I'm gonna finish taking off my caliper, and then I'm gonna hang it with a couple bungee cords. There we go. Got that off. Now I'm just gonna hang it. Usually I have bigger bungee cords to do this, but kind of using them all right now, so the smaller ones will be just fine. I'm just gonna have to double up on them. Sometimes when the bolt doesn't want to come out, I just screw the nut back on, put this right over, put my extension over it or socket, something smaller, and I'm just going to tap it. There we go. And then I'm just going to loosen it really quick just to get that out. Oh, wrong size. Alright, now it should pop all the way out. Without being too difficult. There we go. Now I'm going to move the shock forward just a little bit. if it will. There we go. And then there's gonna be a pin right here. I'm gonna push up through the bottom and then pull it out. That's what it looks like. This is the ball joint pin. Just gonna take this rotor off, or maybe I don't need to actually. Since I'm just gonna take the whole hub off. Now all that's left, I have this ABS line. I'm just gonna take the whole thing with me. I have my sensor disconnected on the other side, so I'm just gonna pop it through, feed the wire through, take off this little mounting bolt and this little clamp, and then I'm gonna take off my control arm and then my ball joint, and then the whole hub will just come right out. Put that off. I'm gonna put this bolt back in, that way I don't lose it. I might just take the whole ball joint with me. Yeah, that'll probably be the better option. I can take it off afterwards if I want to. Alright. Yeah, so this is what the studs look like going through the ball joint. Just gonna put the nuts back on. So now my ball joint is completely loose. When I take off the cowsel nut for the upper control arm, this whole assembly should just slide right out. There's that. Gonna double check that everything else is disconnected. And usually this does not come off that easily. Usually you have to fight it. Usually you have to hit it from the stud on the bottom. I usually put the cowsel nut back on, hit it with a hammer, and then it eventually pops up like that. But since it wasn't tightened down properly from the previous shop I took it to, it was just hanging on there all nice and loose. So I'm gonna pop that up, rotate this out, and then boom, hub is off. Now that I did this, I'm gonna do the repeat process on the driver's side, and then we will continue on taking down the subframe. So let me go do that, and then I'll cut over to the subframe. All right, I got the other side done. Now I just need to get this sway bar end link off. It's gonna be a 14mm. I already got it cracked just to see if it gave me any problems. So basically what you do, you get an Allen key. There's a little slot for it right here. I put my 14mm on it and I just cracked it loose. And then what this does, the Allen key basically holds the stud in place, so that way you can take the nut off. And all I did was put it in here. I let this rest up against the sway bar, and then I just put my wrench on there and hit it with a hammer, and then it cracked it loose. And then see, it's still spinning. So just put your Allen key in there, and then it just comes off. I prefer to just do it this way. Put the box end on there. Alright, got that off. It just pops out. And what I did off camera, I went underneath the car. I located my 6 bolts I need to take off from my subframe. I went through and I loosened them. They weren't on like extremely tight. I just wanted to make sure I could do it today because you do need a deep socket. They are it's a 17mm, and I have a deep socket in my my 3/8 ratchet set, but I don't have it in a 1/2 inch. I prefer using a 1/2 inch because you got to use a breaker bar to break these loose. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you where they are. So you're underneath the car, come under here, you're gonna see a stud, and I hope you can see. Oh no, you can't see that. Let me go get a light. All right, now that I have a light, you're gonna see one stud right here. Then we're gonna go under here, you're gonna see that other stud, and then there's gonna be a bolt back here that you can get to. See that? That one right there. So one, you got two, and then you got your third one. And it's gonna be the same exact thing on the other side. I'm gonna place a jack underneath there, and then just loosen it. All right, here we go. All right, I got that out. Kind of a pain in the butt. Not too bad. Just Glad nothing dropped. That's why I put those jack stands down there. Hope you learned from my mistake. Take off the upper control arms before you loosen your subframe all the way. So I'm gonna go do it to the driver's side really quick, and then I'll drop the subframe. All right, guys, I got that out. Now time to drop the subframe. All right, so I do have to disconnect my brake lines. That's aggravating. Well, let me do that real quick. All right, guys, so all I did to make life easier, I just disconnected my brake line, passed it through that little mounting bracket, and then I just put it back on top of here because that mounting bracket's attached to the subframe. Hope you can see that. I know it's a little dark, but I just opened up my brake lines, did that real quick. I just want to keep my brake system sealed while I do all this work. It's gonna take a few months, but yeah, now we can drop the subframe. All right, sorry about that, guys. My GoPro died. I had to go back in and charge it. But subframe is out. You probably saw at the end is probably tilted a little bit, and it was just stuck on that stud coming through. So I put a jack underneath the back end of it, jacked it up, and then wiggled the subframe, and then it just popped out. And then yeah, just came right out, and then I drug it out, and here we go. It's just chilling here. Now I have to order some bushings for it. I'm gonna clean it up because there's so much oil on here. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.